my friends of new and old. It is Mrs. Mount here in the Limitless Learning headquarters for today's math video. And today, for math, we are going to be talking about fractions. Fractions. So, one of the first things to understand about fractions is what are they? So fractions are pretty much a way of explaining the different parts of things or things as a whole. So if we were to imagine this white circle was a whole pie, then we would have a whole pie, which means that we would have a whole, which would be equal to 1. Now, if we were only talking about half of our circle, if we were only talking about this part, what does that mean? Well, part of fractions helps us to explain what this is. How do we explain what this is? So what we can do is we can look. So when we have a fraction, we have a line across, and what's up here is the part that's selected, or the part that's left, or the part that you're looking at. And down here would be the whole. So let me give you an example. So right now we have our pie, and it's split up into 2 pieces. We've got one that's red and one that's white. So that means we have 2. That would be the whole amount. So if we had 2 pieces of pie, then it would be 2 over 2, which means that you would have the whole pie, right? But because we don't have the whole pie, we only have one of the 2 sections. So that means that our 1 is going to go on top. And this is how you represent a half. So you've got the 1 up top and the 2 underneath. You've got 1 of 2. So you've got half. Now, another way to show that, let's see. Now, if we were to move on to, let's say we split our pie up into 3 pieces. What would happen then? Well, let's see. So we've got 3 pieces. And I know that these lines are not perfect, but that's okay, because it doesn't need to be perfect. The concept is still there, and what you're learning is still really important. So, we've got 3 parts. So that means that our total at the bottom, so that bottom number is, remember, all of the parts. So all of the parts that make up the full pie. So in this case, there's 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 pieces. And let's say we wanted to just have this 1 piece. Then that means that we would eat 1 piece of 3. So that means we would eat 1/3 of the pie. Now, if we were super hungry and it was our super favorite pie, then we might have 2 pieces. So then that means that the number up top, remember that's the number that you're looking at, that's the selected number. So then you would do 2 because you chose to eat those 2 pieces. So you ate 2 of the potential total of 3. Now, if you were to also eat this piece here, then this would not be 2. This would become what? What do you think? Well, if you said 3, you would be right. And that's because you ate 3 pieces of the total number of pieces, which is 3. So that means that you ate the whole pie. And 3 over 3, what that means is that you ate the whole thing. So instead of writing 3 over 3, you could also show this by just writing a 1, because you ate the whole thing. You didn't eat half, you didn't eat a third, you had all 3 of the total potential number of pieces of pie that you could have. All right, let's take another look. Clean that off. All right, so if we were to split our pie into 4 pieces, it would look like this. Now, if we ate 1 piece, what would our fraction look like? So what would be the bottom number? Remember, our bottom number is the total of all of the pieces that we could possibly have. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the piece of pie that we're looking at, the specific part of the pie that we're looking at, how many pieces are we looking at? So what's our number going to be that we put up here? If you said 1, you'd be right, because you had 1 of the possible 4 pieces. Now, if you had 2, then you would just change that number to a 2. And it would be 2 over 4, because you chose to have 2 of the pieces of pie of the total 4. Now, if you look at this, and this picture, they kind of look similar to something else that we looked at, doesn't it? It looks exactly as if you were to eat half of the pie. So another way of writing this, if you didn't want to write 2 over 4, you could also write it as 1 over 2. Because if you split the pie into 2 pieces, so you have your total 2, you had 1 whole half. So you either had 2 quarters or 1 half. So 2 quarters equals 1 half. Cool, eh? All right, let's go on to another one. Now this time we are going to try and split our pie into 5 pieces. That doesn't look very clear. And for the other ones, it didn't really make a difference, but for the 5, we kind of want to make it look a little bit similar. So let's see if I go. There we go. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that our bottom number is going to be 5, because there's 5 total potential parts that we could be looking at in order to make the whole. Now, if we were to eat this piece of pie right here, what would we write up top? If you said 1, you'd be right, because we ate 1 piece of pie. Now, what if we had 2 pieces of pie? Alright, so we know that we put our 2 there. Now what if we got really, really hungry and decided we were going to eat this, and we were going to eat this, and we were going to eat this piece too? What would be the number we would put here? How many pieces did we choose to eat out of the total number of pieces that were there? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And guess what? That also means, do you remember? We talked about it a couple minutes ago. So 5 over 5, that means you ate all 5 pieces of the total 5 pieces. That means you ate the blank pie. The whole pie. Oh, I don't think you can see it there. The whole pie. Alrighty. The next number we are going to look at is 6. So what would be the bottom number of our fraction if it was 6? If there were 6 total pieces, would we put the 6 on top or would we put it on the bottom? If you said on the bottom, you are right. Now if we chose to eat this piece and this piece, what number would go on top? You're right, 2, because we ate 2 pieces of the total 6. Now, if you look at this, it looks pretty similar to something else. Now, if I were to move, there's color over here, and if I were to move it up to here, it might be a little bit easier to see, actually. So let's see. Now this looks like something that we've seen before. What is that? Well, if we redrew our lines, we could break our pie into 3 pieces instead. Because you had 1 whole third, there's another third, and there's another third. Just like that. So then it would become 1/3 because you ate 1 piece of the total 3. And that is an equivalent fraction of the 2 over 6. And that is always a really, really good thing to look at too. So if you have your equivalent, if you have your fraction and you say, hey, that looks similar, writing it with smaller numbers makes it a whole lot easier, my friends. So make sure that you're doing that. Give yourselves a break. Be easy on yourselves. All right. Now, the next one we are going to do our last one, which is going to be 10. So, let's see here. Half. Yeah, that's close enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's see. We're going to write our fraction here. What would be the bottom number? If you said 10, you would be right. Good job! Because there are 10 total pieces of this pie. Now, if I chose to have this one and this one, then what number would go on top? 2 over 10, because we had 2 of our total pieces, or 2 pieces that we ate of our total 10. Now with this one, we can also redraw our lines. So if I take out this middle line here, I'm going to take out this middle line. I'll take out this one. I'll take this one. And we'll take out this one. So now, how many sections do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, our bottom number would be 5. And what would our top number be? 1. Right. Now, another way that you could do this is you could look at these numbers, and if you were really good at dividing, you could break them into 2. You could just divide the top number by 2, and the bottom number by 2, and that's how you could get your answer. Or you could do it just by drawing it out, which I find is very helpful. So my friends, I encourage you to practice your fractions, see how many equivalent fractions you can come up with, see if there's ones for numbers up to 20, see if you can find one with 8. I didn't do that one on purpose to try and give you guys a little bit of a challenge. And yeah, make sure that you have fun with fractions and make it easy on yourselves. Remember, break it down into those smaller numbers. They're a lot easier to work with than these bigger ones. All right, my friends, until next time, stay limitless learners.